everyone. Welcome to the second episode of UCSP by Doncha, a diverse approach to understanding culture, society, and politics. I'm Teacher Don, and together we will deepen our knowledge to be more aware and inclined to our surroundings and community. How's your travel and learning experience when we were in Baguio, Cebu, and Davao City last week? Was it fun? I bet it is! Can you still remember our fun facts? Be sure to always remember them. Let me know by using the hashtag Doncha as you post your learning experiences on social media. During our pilot episode, we often encounter the terms culture, society, and politics. For us to fully understand these words, let us have these concept maps. What are the words that you can associate or connect to the word culture? We can associate or connect with it is beliefs. Two more. We have languages and food. Remember that you are not limited to add more about culture. Second word, we have society. What can you think of when you hear it? First one is community. Second one, relationship. And the third one, we have family. Once again, bear in mind that you are not limited to these given words about society. The last but not the least is politics. The word is government. Second one is rights. Third one is policy. Put in mind that just like the first two concepts, you can still use other related words to politics. Once again, our concept maps for culture, society, and politics. Oops! We still have another word. It's history. I'm curious of the places you have in your mind when you hear the word history. I've got an idea. Since our last travel, we only visited one museum. Why don't we visit two more today? But are you up for another escapade or adventure? Don't you worry about bringing a lot of stuff because your pen and paper will do. But how to go there? Don't you worry because Teacher Don has come prepared. Come with me as we go back in time. Welcome to the bangus capital of the Philippines, the Gupen City. Don't you know that this train is one of the oldest trains in the Philippines? Yes, this is the railroad locomotive number 17. It was used during the pre-war on the Manila-Dagupan Railroad line. Jose P. Rizal, our national hero, once rode a train here in the Gupen City. And of course, for our dose of vitamin kilig, don't you know that Jose P. Rizal's greatest love, Leonora Rivera, once lived here in the Gupen? Also here in the city, you will find the Japan-Philippine Friendship Garden, which was constructed in August 1975 and was dedicated to the heroism and valor of all the soldiers during the World War II. The MacArthur Landing marker can also be found here. It was unveiled in January 23, 1984. And the newest attraction in the city is the Tondaligan Beach marker. And of course, one of the city's pride is the Dagupan City Museum located at the heart of the city. And that is our first destination for this episode. Come with me, let's go inside. Before we continue our tour, let's have some fascinating facts about museums. Don't you know that the International Museum Day is celebrated every 18th of May? There are different types of museums around the world, and the Gupen City Museum is an example of history and arts museum. It's considered to be a history and arts museum because in the second story of the building is a small collection of historical artifacts and artworks of local artists and 2 national artists of the Gupen City. Can't wait to see them? Come on then, let's head upstairs. The Gupen City Museum houses historical facts from the city cathedral prior to its renovation and several World War II photos taken when MacArthur toured around the town. And we can also see these replica of masterpieces from the national artist of the Gupen City, Victorio C. Edades, who is also the father of modern Philippine painting. Above me is his work of art, The Builders. Another national artist from the city is Salvador F. Bernal, who was a theater designer, whose artworks showcase the use of inexpensive local materials. It is an honor to have a national artist from a certain place. How much more if there are 2? It is a great honor indeed. Can you still recall the word anthropology? It is all about culture. Let's take a closer look at this. This is culture. Culture, as we've seen, is the set of shared or common things that pertains to the attitudes, beliefs, languages, customs, rituals, behaviors, religions, food, art, drama, and music. Have you observed these things as we have our quick tour of the city and museum? Are they evident from the landmarks that we've seen? How about the variation or distinct forms of some artworks? Absolutely. Some are very obvious, but the others are not. That distinction is called cultural variation. Let's check the artworks of these 2 different artists. Do you see any variations on them? Definitely, there are. Example differences are their field of expertise, styles, and goals in creating these masterpieces. The same with culture. We have the so-called cultural variation. Cultural variation refers to the differences or distinct forms of social behaviors that various cultures exhibit around the world. An example of this is the cultural variation in the mode of dressing. Take a look at these 2 beautiful women. Can you point out the cultural variation in their dress modes? The woman on the left is wearing a lovely outfit of Muslims. It is a traditional clothing of their women. They wear this because it shows their belief as an appropriate attire of women, and it also shows a great deal about their faith or religion, which is Islam. While the woman on my right is wearing a lovely outfit as well, which is considered as common to others who share her beliefs and practices. Can you now spot the differences between their modes of dressing? Great then if you can! Don't you know that there are significant reasons of cultural variations? The first one is the environment. Environmental condition is one of the evident reasons as inhabitants must adapt in order to survive. Example to these are these artworks or pictures. We can observe that there is a visible difference between the people of the Cordilleras and Pangasinan. The latter has a mountainous terrain. Their major lifestyle is influenced by farming. While in Pangasinan, which has coastals and beaches, that's why fishing greatly impacted its mode of living. Second is isolation. It means one society cuts its interactions from other society. Thus, the kind of culture will continue free from the influence from other societies. The Tiboli tribe of South Cotabato is one of the well-known tribal group in Mindanao. This tribal group is living in a traditional way comparable with how their ancestors lived centuries ago. They are also known for their very intricate and unique beadwork, wonderful woven fabrics, and beautiful brass ornaments. Their culture is richly connected with and inspired by nature. They have a distinctive and very well-preserved culture that is keeping their characteristics and ancient traditions alive, and it remains to be unmarred by the present modernity of our country. Third is technology. The availability to tools, equipment, or machineries likely affects the values and beliefs of economic and social interactions. A decade ago, if we really wanted to tour a place or a museum, we need to be there physically. And yet, nowadays, we have this so-called virtual tour of places and even museums. And this was made possible by none other than the fast-evolving technology. Another example to it is the International Rice Research Institute. Don't you know that there are 17 countries associated with it, and the central office is located in Los Baños, Laguna, here in our country? Can you recall the words we connected with society? It's great if you can still do. They are community, relationship, and group. What is society then? Society is a group of people who share the same laws, rights, and resources. It does not only pertain to your barangay or village, but even those people who live far from each other are still a part of the same community. For instance, the entire Philippine population is considered as a large society, but it is composed of different small societies. This difference is called social difference. It refers to the dissimilarities among individuals based on their social characteristics and qualities. But for larger societies, it includes race, ethnicity, class, age, sex, gender, group, and others. People differ in race. Here in the Gupen city, we can meet people from the different parts of the country and the world. People differ in sex, which refers to the biological characteristics of human, such as male or female. They differ in gender. Gender refers to the socially constructed roles, behavior, activities, and attributes. And lastly, people differ in social standing or status. Why are these things evident? Because of social change. It is the alteration of society over time, or changes in human interaction, or change in system of social relationships. Change exists, and this is evident or observable, just like the changes in our community. We experience national lockdown, curfew hours, and other restrictions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I know for sure that you've been also affected by it one way or another. And this is how culture and society are interconnected with each other. The changes that happen in the society affect the way of life, beliefs, and our values of the people in a certain area. With all these changes and variations, still, our political identity is developed and manifested. Speaking of political identity, let's move on to our next museum destination. Welcome to the heart, soul, face, and the Bogoong capital of Pangasinan, Lingayen. Don't you know that Lingayen means looking back? Don't you also know that the 12th President of the Philippines, Fidel V. Ramos, was born here in Lingayen on March 18, 1928? And there's a replica of his house which features a number of his family mementos. It is also here in Lingayen where we can visit the one-of-a-kind Campana Museum in the country, which is housed within the compound of the Cathedral of the Epiphany of Our Lord. It displays 6 antique bells from the 1800s. Next is the Lingayen Beach and Baywalk, which offer a scenic spot for picnics, gatherings, and a perfect place to meditate and contemplate. Near the Baywalk is the provincial capitol building. It has been dubbed as the best provincial capital in the Philippines. We're here at the Open Museum of the Province, where we can all go back in time and witness some of the great history events in the country that greatly affected the political system. One of the attractions here is the Veterans Memorial Park, which is home to all the relics of historical events that happened at this site during World War II. This houses some of the aircrafts, weapons, and tanks used during World War II to combat the Japanese occupation, and a collection of historical photographs. These are but a few testaments of the rich history that Lingayen is proud of. Also, these things allow us to see a glimpse of the political history that happened not only here, but in the entire country. For us to have a deeper understanding about political history, let us identify first the word politics. We've already identified some related words about politics, so I guess you already have an idea about it. Don't you forget that Aristotle has a book entitled Politics. Politics came from the Greek word polis, which means city-state. It is the science of government, or a systematic body of knowledge that deals with the government and regulations. It is also defined as an art because it involves the exercise of control or authority within the society. Politics is also about conflict and cooperation. This part is an example of how the government in the past handled things to secure peace and harmony in the entire world. That serves as an example which leads to political identity. Political identity can be regarded as political arguments which focuses upon the interest and perspectives of groups which people identify. An example for this is the fair and equal treatment and rights of both sexes. We're here at the provincial capital of Pangasinan. Don't you know that it is one of the nation's classic examples of architecture, and it's one of the 8 architectural treasures of the Philippines and the arts? This very structure speaks of how culture, society, and politics are connected to each other. These 3 are interconnected with each other in various observable ways around us. Most of the time, the places such as museums and historical landmarks are somehow unappreciated by today's generation. Don't you forget that these things are our link to the past that help and develop, shaped the kind of culture, society, and politics that we are all experiencing and enjoying right now. Pop culture or popular culture that we are all so familiar with will never exist without these things. Do you also have historical destinations in your own cities or provinces that you're familiar with? I bet you do. Don't you also forget to post in your social media accounts or write on your UCSB modules the TML phrase. T stands for the topic was about. M stands for it matters because. And L stands for I've learned that. Oops! It's getting late and it's time to go back in our classroom. It's a wrap! Another tour and fascinating facts that gave us awareness of our community and surroundings. I would really love to hear from you, dear grades 11 and 12 and UCSB fanatics out there. What is life but one grand adventure? This is Teacher Dawn, your museum docent or tour guide for today, wishing you all a great day ahead. See you in the next episode of UCSB by Doncha, your diverse approach in understanding culture, society, and politics. Balbalag, ya salamat at sikayon amin.